When you're measuring your head, make sure to tilt your measuring tape in the way you want to wear your hat. I want my head to sit pretty straight like this. This is about 22 3/4. But if I want my hat to sit deeper on my head, more like this will be about 23.5 inches. It's really up to you, but keep that in mind when you're measuring your head. You can download the pattern from my website for free. Add at least 1/2 inch to your head measurement to accommodate the fabric's thickness. Then if that number is 24 inches, print it at 100% scale. I included the scaling guide, so adjust the scaling of your printing according to the guide. Now all the pieces are cut and interfaced with medium weight fusible interfacing. Now I'm going to put these 4 pieces and these 4 pieces together first, and then put 2 big pieces with 1 long seam in the middle. For the brim, I'm going to put right sides of the fabric together, then sew the outer edge with 1/2 inch seam allowance. I'm going to stop my stitching here, but I'm going to go over just 1 stitch to make sure I don't have the gap at the top. Now I'm going to open this and then stitch both sides of the seam, about 1/8 or 3/16 of an inch from the seam on both sides. Before I add the next piece here, I'm going to trim this part as close to the stitching as possible. Like this. Even with all the clipping I did to the seam allowances, the center of the hat gets really thick, so it's hard to open this seam. So to flatten it, I'm gonna try to steam it and pound it with a hammer. So this is how it's looking so far. I guess this could be a beret hat like this. So I completely forgot about the lining. I'm just going to cut out 8 pieces of the lining from the same pattern. I'm going to sew the lining pieces in the exact same way as the outer piece, but you can skip the top stitching if you want to. But if you decide to skip the top stitching, I would iron the seam allowance open instead. I made the hat lining with cotton flannel. I'm going to put the lining inside the hat, lining up the seams. Actually, before I put the lining to the outer shell, I'm going to cut rectangles from the seam allowance of the hat to reduce bulk. I want to line up the center of the brim to one of the seam of the hat. Then I'm going to start sewing from the center, then sew the half of the brim first. Now I'm going to line up this seam and this seam, and then try to mirror this side exactly on this side. Then this time I'm going to sew from this end to the center. Starting in the back of the hat, I'm going to align the edge of the ribbon with the seam you just did, like this. It's a little hard to see, but it's the seam you just did. When you come to the end, make sure you overlap the ribbon about an inch. Cut the ribbon and then fold about half an inch. Then pivot. Now I'm going to hand stitch the ribbon to the lining in a couple of places to keep the ribbon from flipping out. This is just a random button I got from my old clothes, and I cut out a circle a little bit bigger than the button. Okay, so this is how it looks on me. For reference, I printed my pattern at 100% scale, which is supposed to be for 24-inch hat. And my head, when it's measured straight across, is 22.5 inches. So the hat came out to be quite big on me, but I like to start on the bigger side because all the layers of fabric and interfacing and ribbon tend to make the hat quite small. And also, if your hat comes out too small, you can put a strip of felt or some kind of form between the ribbon and the hat to make it a little bit smaller. So that's something to think about when you're deciding on the size you're making. Also, you can wear this hat more like a newsboy cap like this. When I'm wearing like this, the hat size is perfect because I want to wear it more tilted. If your brim comes out too floppy or you just want to control the shape of the brim a little bit more, you can add wire to the brim. I'm explaining how to do that in depth in this video, so you can check that out next. Thank you for watching.